So now that I've finalized the smaller details within the drawings itself, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out to a home goods store and start buying the materials to make the dresser itself. Specifically, we're going to focus on the case itself because I have the material for the top. With that said, let's go to the store. Morning, YouTube. So today we're coming to a home goods store to buy material for the dresser project. I initially had decided to do some pine board material, but the problem is the cost of the pine board was greater than just buying sanded pine plywood, which we're going to paint anyway. So again, I'm not concerned too much about the aesthetics, but right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling material off the shelves. I'm looking specifically, I wanted a 2-foot by 4-foot board, but that's the nominal measurement. The actual measurement is about, measure it, it's 2/16 less than actual 2 feet. And then if I measure it this way, we're looking at a little bit actually over 4 feet. So this would actually be perfect for our dresser build because again, we're only going to do about 20 inches out of the actual case, which will leave me some extra material to use for drawer sides and drawer parts. So with that said, what you want to look for too is, as you're selecting lumber, make sure you don't have a lot of cracks or nicks in the board and that it's relatively straight. I know plywood does have a tendency to stay straight for the most part, but again, it does not hurt to inspect each piece. That's why I'd rather do an in-person pickup for a lumber selection, because again, the person who's picking out your wood and putting it in your cart might not see some of the defects that you might. So again, it does not hurt to lumber select your pieces. So again, I'm looking for nice quality pieces. So this will definitely be one. I know there's a little bit up here in the corner that's missing, but again, I'm probably gonna end up cutting this end off anyways. So the good news is it is good for our parts. So I'm gonna start putting them down on the sides. Now, I pulled this one down. I'm going to zoom in on this because right here, the entire edge is missing. And again, I want as much material as possible for my dresser. So again, if this is the last piece in the stack and you have to build it, take it. But in my case, I can choose to be picky. So I chose 5 pieces of plywood that are 2 feet by 4 feet wide for my dresser build. The reason why I went with 5 is you normally are going to have about 10% waste per project you do. So I did the math for the entire case, and it turned out that, you know, I at least had 4 boards for the entire parts. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an extra one just in case, so that I'm not short on material and having to come back to the store to buy that stuff. So the good news is I already have some surplus oak left over for the dresser build, but if I had to buy oak here, alright, what I would probably do is I try to buy it in smaller widths and then glue it up into my larger panel. But the good news is that the material that I have has been kiln dried and is a lot more stable, so I'm not concerned about gluing 2 larger pieces. But again, it does get pricey for the bigger you go. So this piece here, it is, what is it? Almost 12 inches across, but actually it's laminated pieces already. Now, you could use this for a dresser build, but the only concern that I have is you're kind of relying on the person who glued it last, and if that company didn't do the up-down technique, it's actually going to delaminate. And you can actually see there are some cracks in the wood itself already before the board has even been purchased, and also some rough sawn parts here. So again, it's not the best, and for $56 I would rather do my own, to be honest. It might be a little more cost prohibitive, but again, you get a better quality project that's, well, honestly, looks better. Because again, in pre-glue ups, you're kind of held to the wood they choose. So again, they can choose whatever colors they want because that's what they're going to do. Whereas if we do our own glue up, so for our own top, we can choose the colors that best match our design and grain match them so that it looks like one continuous piece. So, if you want my opinion, instead of doing a pre-glued panel that's almost 12 inches, I would rather take 2 separate pieces, which might cost a little bit more, and get a better quality glue up instead. So this video covers purchasing the material at a home goods store. Again, this is just for our dresser build. If I were to do this all out of hardwood, I would go to a different type of lumber supplier. I would go to an actual lumber yard, like Rugby Construction, Downs and Reeder, anything that's in your area that's not a main brand store. They do have the good material just to get started on some projects, but if you want to get the heirloom quality stuff or the highest quality lumber like walnut, cherry, and other exotics, you would want to go to a lumber specific store. But with that said, that covers the entire video, and I hope you guys are staying safe and have a great week.